This is Gemara in Gittin Daf Lamid, and we're holding on Chav Tesam and Beis, in the middle of the wide lines over here, approximately 8 lines down. First one in line is Ahu Gavra. Says the Gemara, Ahu Gavra the Shadla Gittin de Bisu. There was a guy who sent a get to his wife, Amar le l'shliach lo yitisvini Allah ad telasin yaimin. But he said to the shliach who's bringing the get, one minor detail: don't give the get right away. Wait 30 days to give the get. Isnis v'gai telasin yamim. But within the 30 days, he was an aynis. Aslak made the Rava, so he came from Rava, and Amar Rava, Chala, what's the reason when the shliach turns sick time of Mai that he's able to appoint a new shliach? Mishum da'anas, because it's an aynis. He's sick, he can't give the get. Hanami anasu. This guy is, you are also an anas. So basically Rava said, you're not able to give the get after 30 days. So go now and give it to a new shliach. Amar lei, master mila kamedi done. So tell the words over in front of us, Dilabasar tzlasin yamin, so that after 30 days, mishamnin and shliach, we in Bezdin will appoint a new shliach, v'yavilei ni Allah, who will then give the get to her. That's how Rava paskins. Rava paskin, just like in the case of Chala, you're able to create a new shlichus. He said to this guy, "B'maiser milan kamidi done," and then we'll do the same thing over here. Amar le Rabbanan the Rava. The Rabbanan said to Rava, 1 second. This shliach until 30 days was not allowed to give the get. So he's a shliach that's that's not able to be able to effect a divorce right now. Therefore, he shouldn't be able to give over the power of divorce to the Bezdin. Amr lahu. So the Rava responded, said Rava, it's not that it's not a shliach legerushin, it's a time-bound issue. So since after 30 days he could divorce, kish shliach legerushin, who it's as if it's a shlichus that he's able to give the gerushin, and therefore he could give over the words in front of Bezdin, and Bezdin will appoint a new shliach after 30 days. Says the Gemara, 1 second, why are we now worried that in the interim that the husband might have pacified his wife, and therefore there's no intent for divorce anymore? And Rashi here points out that we should say, fine. Miloi Tanan, the Gemara itself speaks out what the issue is if Shema peace. Miloi Tanan, do we not learn? If someone says that I'm giving a get right now, if I don't come within 12 months, if he dies within 12 months, I raise a get, and we try to figure out this case. Why don't we say that maybe he didn't intend to divorce his wife, maybe they reconciled? The Amar Rabbi Rachana, 3 lines to the bottom, he explained, Achi Amar Abba Mari, Mishmei de Rav, Bi Oimer, the case is that Manas Vayloimer Shloi Basi. And the case is talking about one in which he said that he's not meant to say that I didn't come. So Ichsif, he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed because he got the psak wrong. It was only an arusa, therefore there was nothing to be embarrassed about because there was no actual concern that they might have reconciled, because there's no reconciliation because they never were married in the first case. On my Rava, I just found the Rashi I was looking for. 1 second. Rashi is covered for all of you. Let me pull up the Rashi. I was looking at the wrong one. I apologize. Let's together, before we go further, what is this problem of the Necha Shema piece? So Rashi explains that the problem is V'leichosh. Rashi is about 13 lines from the wide lines. V'leichosh Shema ba bal etzla b'toich shlishim yom. Maybe the husband came to her within 30 days. V'nisyache, those are the words I was looking for. V'nisyache nima ufaisa ubal, and they were together, and therefore v'get yashan. That's the problem. The problem is that if they were in actuality, a husband and wife got back together, then it makes the get into a puzzle get. It's a get yashan. So that was the concern. The Gemara said that he was embarrassed. Well, at the end of the day, since they only did Eris and there was really no reason to be concerned, as after Erison, of course, there's no heter to be together. Amar Rava, says Rava, Amru ben Esua, Yamru ba'arusa. Of course, this whole concern of get yashin is only going to be by an Esua, but not by a ni'arusa. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rava, Avada kami bailan. This certainly I can ask. Ki mashi bezdin shliach. When bezdin is going to appoint the shliach b'fanav, oy shaloi b'fanav. When is bezdin going to appoint the shliach? Is it only in front of the original shliach or not? And Hadar Pashta, he answered the question, Bein b'fanav, bein shaloi b'fanav. And Shalchum Yitan, that Lamaisa is the halacha, Bein lefanav, bein shaloi b'fanav. Bezdin would indeed appoint the shliach to create a new shliach to continue giving the get in the original shliach's place. And we continue, Lamid Amid Aleph, 3 lines down. Says the Gemara, another story, Huda Amar, a famous story that we've had at the very beginning of Ksubis, perhaps famous, that Ksubis Daf Beis, we've all remembered from our yeshiva days. Huda Amar, someone says, if I don't come within 30 days, Liavegita. He tells his wife, I'm going away. If I come within 30 days, fine. If I don't come home within 30 days, then it's going to be a divorce. What happens? Asa, he tries to come, but Upaska Mavra. The river. Rashi says, he wasn't able to cross over the river. So he's standing at the other side of his river, and he sees his wife across the river, and Amrlo, and he screams, Chazuda Asai, Chazuda Asai. He screams to his wife, I'm here. The whole condition was, if I don't come within 30 days, he says, I'm here. I just can't get across the river. Amar Shmuel, so what's the halacha in this case? Lo Ishmei Maseh, it's not called coming. Therefore, indeed, the get kicks in, because what was the condition? It was if you don't come within 30 days, Lamaisa, he didn't come within 30 days. Hahud Amar Lu, another story. Lo Pasina, it's him yom mefayir not mefayis you. Till 30 days, Avigid Shviya get Azal Paisa. So he came and he tried to make amends, but unfortunately, it didn't work. So the whole condition was, if I don't make amends, he tried to make amends, but then Lamaisa, he wasn't successful. Amar Rav Yosef, mi yavla tarkavta didinri v'lo ifaisa. Did he give her gold and gems and whatnot? Meaning he didn't do what he was able to do, and therefore you can't tie na oynis b'tanai get, and therefore it's going to be a good get. Lamaisa, did you fulfill your condition? The answer is no, and therefore you are divorced. Ikadi Amri, now we have another lashon of learning the same case. Amar Rav Yosef, a little bit of a different nigid. Midi tarkava de dinri ba'ila meisavla. Does he have to give her $1,000,000? Of course not. Habaisa, he tried to be mafaiser. Lo faisa, the fact that she didn't agree is not his problem, and therefore they will not be divorced. Comments the Gemara, Hakaman Damar Yesh Ainis Begittin, Hakaman Damar Ein Ainis Begittin. That these 2 ways of learning are going to be dependent upon this machlokes. Do we say that one could claim that it was an Ainis? I did my own. I tried to appease her. That's what I said I'm going to do. The fact that she didn't agree is not my problem. So is there going to be a Tainis Ainis in Gittin or not? That will be the machlokes between the two. Lish Ainis. Continues the Mishnah. A quarter of the way down, Lamed Amid Aleph. Hamal ve'mois es ha'koyin ve'es ha'levi ve'es ha'ani. Someone lends money to a koyin, a levi, or an ani. For what purpose? Liyos mafresh alein michalkon, and he's going to separate to them from their portion. Meaning, I lent the koyin $100. Koyin owes me $100. How's the koyin going to pay me back? I'm going to be very smart, and I'm going to say to the koyin, listen, I have to give you truma. So the $100 of truma I'm supposed to give you, instead of giving you the $100, I'll keep the $100 of truma for myself, and that will be repayment of the loan. Are you allowed to do that? Says the Mishnah, Mafresh alein b'chesket shein kayamin. You're allowed to separate it with the chazaka, with the assumption that the coin is still around. Ve'ino choishes shema meis, and you don't have to be worried that wait, I lent the coin $100. I don't have the coin in front of me right now. How am I allowed to go and take the truma and keep it for myself? I do not have to be worried. Shema meis, perhaps the coin is no longer. Or in the case of the Levi, Meiser, or Hesher Ani, or the Ani became wealthy in the case of Meiser Ani. Meisu, what happens if they do indeed died? Then you have to ask the children. Im Hilvam bifnei Bezdin. If you lent them in front of Bezdin, then ain't certainly the Rishus min Yarshim. They don't have to worry about the Yarshim. Says the Gemara, what's going on over here? sounds like the case, like I just spelled it out, that instead of giving the truma to the kohen, I keep it on my own. Says the Gemara, the truma doesn't actually get to the kohen's hands. How could that be called that I paid up the kohen? That's not possible. So Amar Rav, you know what's going on over here? Classical b'makiri kuna levia ulevia. It's a case where I always give it to this kohen, to this Levi. Explains Rashi, so for all the other kohanim and Levium are misalik themselves. They don't think they're actually going to get it, and therefore that's how it could affect such an acquisition. Shmuel Amar, no, it's not so simple. Says Shmuel b'mzakir lahem al yedei acherim, that you give it to them via a third party. Ula Amar, Amani Rav Yosi, a third way of explaining the Mishnah to Amar. Asu she'eina zeicha ki zeicha, that we make one who's not zeicha as if he's zeicha. So explains the Gemara, what's unique about each of these three answers? Kulu ki Rav lo Amri, they don't all explain like Rav why not makiri lo katani. Because the words of the Mishnah were not that we're talking about a case necessarily of makiri kuna, of someone that you know. Kishmol like Amri, why? B'mizaka lo katani, because the Mishnah didn't say it's a case of mizaka, they are a third party. Kulanami lo Amri, why not? Ki echida lo mukminan. Why? Because we don't like being mukim the Mishnah like a das yachid of Rav Yosi, that we make the ina zeicha into a kizeicha. Tana Rabbanan, continues the Gemara, 4 lines from the wide lines. Ha'amal ve'mo'iz is a koyin v'zalevi v'za'ani liyos mavish aleim v'chalkon. This sounds just similar to the Mishnah. Mavish aleim v'chashen kiyamin. But now the Brisa adds on more cases. Not just mavish aleim v'chashen kiyamin. U'poisek iman kishar azol. The Gemara is going to dissect each and every one of these entities. Ve'in boi misham ribis. Ve'in shviz misham tasei. Ve'in balachzer einoi chayzer. If you want to back out, you can't back out. You see, Aishu Abaylim, if the owners are miyayesh, in second white line, mafresh fisha, in mafresh al-avod, then you can't do this anymore because you're not allowed to separate on something that is no longer. So now says the Gemara, okay, we have a Brisa that of course is being quoted as it mimics very similar to the din in our Mishnah. Says the Gemara, let's dive a little bit deeper and let's understand each entity of this Brisa. So Amar Mar, we're on the second of the wide lines. Amar Mar. Paisik imam b'shar zol, you let to stipulate on the low market price. Says Mer Pshita, what else would you do? Hakamash lan, you know what the Chiddush is? Avol bishloi pasak. Kimisha pasak dami. You didn't say at what evaluation are you going to evaluate those apples that you're giving to the Truma, the Meiser, etc. So even without stipulating, we assume it goes by the low market price. Vein by misham ribis, my time, akim d'chei like he is nami. Ein by misham ribis. An interesting chiddush. This is really a similar chiddush to how every loan works, that we have to try to circumvent ribis, is that we make it that it's not guaranteed. That any time a loan is not guaranteed, we make it into a form of iska, a form of business deal. If it's not guaranteed, then there's no ribis. So to over here, just like if I didn't have, I want to give it to you. If I do have, therefore it's not going to be ribis. Vein shviz misham tasai. Shvita does not cancel this loan. Why not? Like because there's no way to really collect from the fact that we made up that I'm going to pay you from the Truma Ma'is, etc. V'im balachzer in a chayzi, why to be chayzi you cannot. Amar Baba. Lo yishanu ella. Balabayis is a big koyin. That's if the Balabayis wants to back out of the koyin. Of course, if the kohen wants to say I had enough of this deal, of course he's allowed to. Do you give the money if you didn't do the Mashiach? You're always able to be chayzer. So similarly, in this case, the kohen is allowed to say, listen, I don't want this agreement anymore, and I just could pay you back straight. That the kohen is allowed to do. And we continue 5 lines. From the bottom, it says, says Mar Pshita, of course. What's the Chiddush, the Akon, that it grew a little bit? Mao, the Tema, Kanta, Milsi, the fact that it grew a little bit, that makes it that it's Chal, that makes it as if that there is crab. Kamash Malah, and that we don't say that. Tanya, we learned in a Brisa 3 lines from the bottom, Hamal v'mois, as I koyin v'zalevi bibazdin. This is similar to the end of our Mishnah. if you lend the money in court, umeisu, then you're allowed to separate on the whole shevet. This kohen's not here, but there are other kohanim, and because you did the halva in Bezdin, that gives you the latitude to separate on the other kohanim. Vesa'ani bebezdin umeis, similar by the ani, you can separate on the other aniyim in Klal Yisrael. Rav Achi Omer b'chesed aniyah olam, not just aniyim of Klal Yisrael, but any ani in the world. Maybe now you says the Gemara, what's the difference between if it's an ani of Klal Yisrael or an ani in the world? As we turn over to Lamed Amid Beis, I think everyone anticipates this answer. Says the Gemara, Ikvei Nayu ani ekutim. That's going to be the difference. And as Rashi points out, as we find all over, based on the machlaikas, whether kutim are going to be geri arayosem, that they're not real geri, they only converted because they were afraid, or whether the kutim are going to be true, full-fledged gerim. We continue on the top line of Lamed Beis. Hesher ani, if the ani becomes wealthy, ein mafresh halav, v'zacha halah b'ma shavi yadai. You can't separate, and the other guy is Zoicha, that which is in his hand. Rabbanan Maishna Lemisa Davitakanta, Umaishna Ashirus Davitakanta. Says the Gemara, Rabbanan, this is very funny. When it came to Misa, you weren't worried. But now when it comes to Ashirus, when it came to Misa, you made it to kind of an out Ashirus. Says the Gemara, Davitakanta, Misa Shchichat's coming, people die. Ashirus Lo Shchichi, that is coming. Amar Abba, I know Damri Inchi. Chavrecha means your friend died. Asher, you believe him. It's Asher, if you say your friend became wealthy, Loi to Asher, then you do not have to believe him. Now, what exactly this means? That it's common? Do we say that maybe nowadays there are wealthier people? Not clear. Maybe it just means that one has an external factor involved. When it comes to death is no way to avoid, whereas when it comes to wealth, that's something that requires an external factor, so maybe that's why we don't make such a takana. Mace. Sarich little rishas. Tanya, 7 lines down. Lamed Amid Beis, learned in a brayso. Rabbi Omer, Yarshin sheyar. We're talking about the Yarshin that inherit. Says the Gemara. Amika Yarshin lo yarti. What are you talking about? Are there Yarshin that don't inherit? Of course. If you're a Yarsh, that means you inherit. Elo Amar Rabbi Eichana. No, you know what he meant. You know what Rabbi meant. Sheyarshu karkav lo sheyarshu ksafim. Means if they inherit land. Amar Rav Yochanan, Yoinasan. Hiniach malimachan, govim malimachan, malikardam, govim malikardam. The amount of land that the person inherits, that's the amount of land that they could collect. Rav Yochanan, Rav Hiniach malimachan, govim malikardam. I don't care how much they collect, even a teeny little bit. They could collect much more. Concise de Gittin de Abaye, because each part we could say that is connected that little piece of field that they did indeed inherit. Tanu Rabbanan, we continue 14 lines down the 2 dots. Yisrael l'sha'amar l'levi. So now we get involved in cases, very like first cousin type of cases to our Mishnah, as everyone will see. So Yisrael tells the Levi, Meiser yesh l'cha b'yadi. Meiser there is to you in my hand, I owe you Meiser. Ein chayshishin the chumas Meiser shabai. We're not worried that maybe the Yisrael took and separated within this truma, within this meiser, I should say, chumas meiser. What's chumas meiser? Chumas meiser is the percentage that the Levi gives the kohen. So when the Yisrael says, I owe you this 100 bushels, we're not worried that the Yisrael went and did the separation for the Levi. Now, why would we be worried for that? You have to wait one more moment until the Gemara. But if he says a specific quantity, then so says the Gemara, my Kamer, this doesn't really make any sense, let's understand this. Amar Abaye, Hachi Kamer, let's go one step deeper. Yisrael, Shamar Levi, Meiser Yisrael, so tells the Levi, there is Meiser to you in my hands. Veheloch Damov, and here is the cash for that. Ein Chayshim. Shamar said, True Meiser Amakamacher. We're not worried that he actually went and from within that cash he gave Chumas Meiser. But if the Yisrael says, Kor Maisi Yesh Chabiyadi, Ve'el Damav, the Chayshish Shema said Chumas Meiser Amakam Acher, then maybe the Yisrael went, took matters into his own hands, and gave off Chumas Meiser for the Levi. So now the question that's probably bothering everyone is really the Gemara's next kasha. Atu Bereshaya Skinon. Are we worried? Are we dealing with Rishayim, the Shaklu Dami, Umash Chumas Meiser? Sounds like I'm giving the $100, and then from within there's really Trumas Meiser. That's called stealing. Elam Rav Shasha B'Id Ravidi Achi Kamer Yisrael Sha'amar LeBen Levi Meiser Lo Vicha B'Yadi Heilch Damav, and here's the money. Ein Chayish Shema Aviv. So now it's not his problem. He said Meiser to your father, so we're not worried that the father, before he got this Truma, went and took off Trumas Meiser Hamakam Acher. But if it's a specific amount, Kor Meiser Vicha B'Yadi, if the father of this guy knew he's getting a Kor Veilch Damav, then Chayish Shema Asai Aviv Trumas Meiser Hamakam Acher. We are concerned that the father might have done that. Says the Gemara, what's going on over here? You're suspecting that the father pre-separated Trumas Meiser for the kohen before he even got the produce. But we know that you're not supposed to think of Truma Shlom and Amukov, you're not supposed to think of Truma before you have it in front of you. This is the case. Ben Yisrael Sha'amar LeLevi, that we flip the case. The child of Yisrael tells the Levi, Kach, Amar li Abba, my father, the Yisrael, said to me, Meiser lecha biyadi, I owe you Meiser, oi, Meiser levicha biyadi. Then Choshen Trumas Meiser shabai. Why? Kivon Duloi kids, Lavi Mitakin Balabayis. But however, Kor Meiser lecha biyadi, I Kor Meiser levicha biyadi, then Choshen Trumas Meiser shabai. Why? Kivon dekayis, Takuni taknuye Balabayis, he was sure would have fixed it and not cause anyone to have any issues. Says the Gemara, what's going on over here? We're still sort of grappling with the same Nekuda. The Balabayis, the Yisrael, is going and taking off Trumas Meiser on behalf of the Levi to give to the Kohen. Says the Gemara, yes, and who is this? Abalazim and Gamlo Yiditanya, 2 lines to the bottom, Abalazim and Gamlo Imer. V'nechshav lochem Trumas Chem, says the Torah. And this we darshan as we turn over to Amid Aleph v'shtei Trumas Akasim Edaber, Achas Truma Gedola, Achas Trumas Meiser, and Kishev She Truma Gedola. Now he tells Ba'iminu Machshava, Kam Trumas Meiser, tells Ba'iminu Machshava. Sheyesh Lo Rishus Ba'abayis Licham Truma Gedola, Kach Yesh Lo Rishus Ba'abayis Licham Trumas Meiser. So the Gemara concludes that this is indeed within the purview of the Yisrael. He does have the right, if he wants, to go and separate the Trumas Meiser even before giving it to the Levi. And we'll pick it up from the Mishnah on the next year, B'siyata Dishmai.